The true power of no contact lies not in what it does to her, but in what it awakens in you. Too many men think silence is some manipulative tactic, a strategy to play games or make a woman feel guilty. But no contact is not about her at all. It is about you taking back the emotional control you lost when you started chasing, pleading, or overinvesting. It's about standing firm in your self-worth instead of begging someone else to validate it. And that's why the man who understands the real purpose of no contact doesn't wait anxiously by his phone, doesn't constantly wonder what she's thinking, and doesn't view silence as punishment. He sees it for what it really is, an opportunity to reclaim his peace, rebuild his strength, and remind himself of who he is without her approval. Think about it. When you first start no contact, your mind is tempted to break. You feel the pull to send that text, to ask how she's doing, to check her social media. That urge isn't about love, it's about a lack of control. It's about the fear of losing someone who already stepped away from you emotionally. The true test of no contact is not resisting her, it's resisting yourself. It's mastering the restless thoughts, the emotional waves, and the need for immediate comfort. Every time you hold firm, every time you silence the temptation to reach out, you grow stronger. You stop reacting from weakness and start responding with power. Silence itself is misunderstood. Weak men think silence means passivity, doing nothing while time slips away. But silence is not inaction, it's an active choice. It's saying, I will not give my energy, my words, or my presence to someone who does not value it. That choice is not weak. It is the ultimate display of strength. Because in a world where everyone seeks instant gratification, where desperation rules interactions, the man who stays composed, calm, and silent stands out as rare. He doesn't crumble under the weight of emotions. He channels them into patience and discipline. Women feel this difference. When you go silent out of fear, she senses it. But when you go silent out of strength, she feels that too. Silence that is rooted in control radiates calm confidence. It forces her to wonder why you aren't reacting, why you aren't begging, why you're not like the others who fold at the first sign of pressure. That kind of silence is powerful because it says, without words, I am not dependent on you. I am whole without you. And that is the essence of the silent battle. It's not about waiting for her to break. It's about proving to yourself that you no longer break. When you learn to sit with discomfort, when you replace the urge to chase with the discipline to remain still, you emerge stronger than you ever imagined. The power of no contact lies in the fact that it recenters your energy, strips you of neediness, and teaches you mastery over your emotions. And once you master yourself, you never lose again. Because whether she returns or not, you've already won. When it comes to the silent battle of no contact versus no contact, one of the most important lessons is learning how to endure the waiting game without caving in. Most men struggle here because patience feels unbearable. You want answers, you want certainty, you want to know what she's thinking, whether she misses you, and if she's about to reach out. That burning urge pushes many men to break no contact too soon, sabotaging all the progress they've made. The truth is, the one who wins in silence is not the one who caves first, but the one who holds steady long enough for the other to feel the weight of absence. In every relationship dynamic, there is an invisible balance of power. When you chase, when you constantly reach out, you shift that balance against yourself. You make it clear that you are the one, more invested, more desperate, more afraid to lose. But when you step back and stay silent, the balance begins to shift back. Slowly, she starts to feel the emptiness you've left. Slowly, she begins to notice the lack of your energy in her life. But this doesn't happen overnight. It's not a quick process. It's a slow burn. And that's exactly why patience is the ultimate weapon in the silent battle. Patience doesn't mean sitting around doing nothing, though. It means building yourself, keeping your focus on your own life, and refusing to let your emotions dictate impulsive moves. Every day you stay silent, you regain a little more self respect. Every day you resist the urge to check in, you build discipline. Every day you show restraint, you remind yourself that you are the prize, not someone chasing to be chosen. That mindset is what makes the silence so powerful. It's not just about withholding contact, it's about proving to yourself that you don't need it. Now, here's the fascinating part: silence creates pressure. The longer you stay silent, the heavier that pressure grows on the other person. She may act like she doesn't care. She may post pictures, seem unbothered, or even ignore you, but deep down, human nature kicks in. We crave attention from those who once gave it freely. When that attention is gone, it gnaws at us. Slowly, doubt creeps into her mind. Why hasn't he reached out? Did he move on? Does he even care anymore? Those questions build tension, and that tension often leads to her being the one to break the silence. The mistake most men make is underestimating how long this process takes. They think a few days or a week of silence should be enough, but real patience means stretching that silence until she feels the full weight of losing your presence. The man who learns to stay grounded, who feels his time with purpose, and doesn't fold under the urge to break no contact, always comes out ahead. Because whether she reaches out or not, he emerges stronger, calmer, and more in control. And that's why the one with the stronger patience is the one who wins the silent battle. One of the most misunderstood aspects of no contact versus no contact is the way silence actually amplifies your value in her eyes. When you're constantly available, when you're always the one reaching out, checking in, or trying to keep the connection alive, you're lowering your own stock. You're signaling that your time, your attention, and your energy are easy to get. But when you take that away, when you stop pouring into her unconditionally, something fascinating happens. Your value begins to rise. Scarcity creates value. The less she feels your presence, the more she begins to realize how much it actually meant. Think about it. People rarely appreciate what's always available. It's when something disappears, when it's no longer guaranteed, that we begin to miss it. Your silence reminds her of what life feels like without your attention, your care, your presence. At first, she may act strong, indifferent, even cold, but as time passes, the emptiness becomes louder. She begins to remember the small things, your voice, your humor, the way you made her feel. And because you're not chasing, not reminding her constantly, she has no choice but to confront those thoughts on her own. That's how silence becomes a mirror reflecting your value back to her in a way words never could. Amplifying your value through silence doesn't mean playing games. It doesn't mean sitting around waiting for her to notice. It means living in such a way that your absence speaks volumes. While she's wondering what you're doing, you're improving yourself. While she's questioning why you haven't reached out, you're busy building your life. That contrast is powerful. Instead of her seeing a man stuck in the past, she begins to see a man who has options, a man who isn't defined by her presence, a man who knows his worth. That image plants seeds of curiosity, doubt, and eventually desire. There's also a psychological element at play here. Humans are wired to assign higher value to what requires effort to attain. If she knows you're always going to call, text, or chase after her, there's no effort required on her part. But when you're silent, when you resist the urge to fill the space, she suddenly has to question whether she still has access to you. That uncertainty elevates your position. It makes her wonder what changed, why you've shifted, and most importantly, whether she still matters to you. And that's the exact space where missing you begins to grow. So the silent battle isn't just about withholding words, it's about allowing your absence to magnify your importance. It's about letting the void do the talking. It's about understanding that your presence has weight, and when that weight is gone, it leaves a mark. By not chasing, by not breaking first, you force her to feel that weight and see your value more clearly than ever. And that's why silence, when done with strength and purpose, doesn't weaken you, it amplifies you. The silent battle of no contact versus no contact is never just about who reaches out first. It's about who has the discipline to remain calm and consistent under pressure. Silence has a way of testing both sides, but the one who breaks first is usually the one who reveals weakness. When you hold firm, when you refuse to give in to the urge to text, call, or check in, you're showing strength. That strength doesn't just affect her, it affects you. Every day that you resist breaking the silence, you're training yourself to value your own self-control, to live from a place of emotional independence rather than neediness. When a woman realizes you're not the one who cracks under pressure, she begins to see you differently. At first, she may expect you to chase because maybe that's what you always did before. She may assume that you'll eventually cave, that you can't stand the silence, that you need her more than she needs you. But when time passes and you still haven't broken, that story in her mind begins to crumble. Now she has to ask herself, if he hasn't reached out, what does that mean? Did he finally move on? Did he find someone better? Does he not care anymore? Those questions aren't just curiosity. They're the beginning of doubt, the spark that ignites her own urge to chase. The one who holds out the longest in silence is the one who demonstrates emotional power. It's not about winning a petty game. It's about showing that your world doesn't collapse without her. That kind of calm strength is deeply attractive because it's rare. Most people panic when faced with silence. They rush to fill the void to relieve the discomfort. But when you learn to embrace it, when you treat silence as your ally, you stand out as someone who isn't controlled by impulse or fear. That composure sets the tone. It tells her you're not desperate, you're not waiting by the phone, and you're not chasing validation. And make no mistake, she feels it, even if she doesn't admit it, even if she keeps up a strong front. Your consistency forces her to confront the truth. She doesn't have the same hold on you that she once did. That shift is powerful because it flips the dynamic. The man who was once chasing becomes the man she now wonders about. The silence, which she thought would break you, starts to break her instead. That's when she begins to miss you, not just in passing, but in a way that eats at her. So remember this, silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. The one who keeps their composure, who doesn't give in to impatience or fear, ultimately wins the silent battle. Because in the end, it's not about who speaks first. It's about who proves they no longer need to. The silent battle between no contact and no contact often comes down to one simple truth. The one who can embrace the silence the longest gains the upper hand. But it's not just about resisting the urge to reach out, it's about what you do with that silence. Too many men treat no contact like a waiting game, sitting around, checking their phones, hoping she'll break first. That's not strength, that's just quiet desperation. The real power lies in how you use the time apart. Instead of wasting energy worrying about her thoughts or actions, you redirect that energy toward yourself. You invest in your growth, your health, your career, your passions. You build a life so fulfilling that whether she comes back or not, you're already moving forward. And that's where the dynamic begins to shift. Women are intuitive, and even if you're not speaking, she can sense when your energy has changed. She may see it through mutual friends, on social media, or simply in the way you carry yourself the next time your paths cross. Silence backed by growth and progress sends a stronger message than any words could. It shows that You're not sitting in the corner sulking, you're thriving. And that thriving presence is what starts to pull her back mentally. She remembers the man she once knew, but now he seems sharper, more focused, more in control. That contrast sparks curiosity, and curiosity always leads to attraction. On the other hand, if you break silence too soon or you spend it stagnating, she doesn't feel any loss. She doesn't miss you because there's nothing new for her to miss. But when you discipline yourself to turn that void into progress, she starts to feel the gap. She begins to realize that while she was testing you, you were transforming yourself. That transformation is what creates regret. She may have expected you to wait, to fold, to chase like before, but when she sees you becoming a better man without her input, the silence suddenly feels heavier on her side. And here's the truth. Women respect strength far more than they respond to weakness. By choosing growth during silence, you're not just winning the battle against her silence. You're winning the battle against your own insecurities. Every workout, every skill you develop, every new habit you build is proof that you don't just survive without her, you elevate. That's the kind of energy that turns the tables. It's not about punishment. It's not about revenge. It's about becoming so strong in yourself that her reaction no longer determines your worth. Ironically, that's the very shift that makes her start thinking, wondering, and eventually missing you. So in this silent battle, don't just wait, grow. Let the silence be the space where you rebuild yourself into someone stronger, calmer, and more fulfilled. That way, whether she reaches out or not, you've already won. The final and most important lesson in the silent battle of no contact versus no contact is this. True victory comes when you detach from the outcome completely. Too many men go into no contact with the wrong mindset. They see it as a strategy to manipulate her, to force her to miss them, or to win by making her break first. But when you operate with that mindset, you're still chained to her decisions, her emotions, and her actions. That's not strength. It's dependency disguised as patience. The real breakthrough happens when you stop caring about who reaches out first and instead focus entirely on your own peace, your own purpose, and your own future. Detachment doesn't mean you stop feeling. It doesn't mean you become cold or emotionless. It means you learn to stand strong regardless of what she does. If she comes back, fine. You'll decide if it aligns with your standards. If she doesn't, fine. You've built yourself up to the point where you're no longer waiting for validation from her. This is where men separate themselves from the crowd. While most guys crumble under the pressure of silence, a man who has mastered detachment becomes unshakable. And that unshakable presence is far more powerful than any chase or pursuit could ever be. Think about it. When you're detached, you're no longer sending out signals of neediness. You're not anxiously waiting by the phone. You're not posting to get her attention. You're not making moves out of desperation. Instead, you're calm, steady, and grounded. That's the kind of energy women notice because it's rare. Most men break. Most men cave. But the man who can sit in silence, fully content with himself, becomes unforgettable. Even if she tries to move on, she'll carry the thought of you with her because she felt that strength and independence. Detachment also gives you clarity. When emotions settle and you're no longer obsessed with what she's doing, you can actually see the situation for what it is. Maybe she wasn't the right woman for you. Maybe the relationship wasn't as healthy as you thought. Or maybe she simply wasn't ready for the kind of man you're becoming. Either way, you gain the perspective to move forward without bitterness. And paradoxically, it's this freedom that often makes her circle back. Women are drawn to men who don't need them, but choose them. When she senses that you've detached, that you're no longer tied up in knots over her silence, it makes her wonder what's changed. what she's missing, and why she no longer has the same hold over you. That curiosity, mixed with the realization of your strength, can pull her back more powerfully than any message or gesture ever could. So remember, the silent battle isn't really about her. It's about you. It's about whether you'll fold under pressure or rise above it. The man who learns to detach, who stays grounded in his own worth, and who doesn't depend on her reaction, is the one who truly wins.